What's good, everyone, and welcome to Summon the Pack. If you're new to the channel, my name is Jake. I'm glad to have you here. And today we're going to be going over both a budget and a Ballin upgrade options for the new Commander 2019 deck, Faceless Menace. Now, with my suggestions, you can upgrade 20 cards for under $30. It's a ton of value. These cards will really make a big impact on the deck, and it's great because it's less than 30 bucks, pretty affordable. On the other hand, if you have some money burning a hole in your pocket, or maybe you have some store credit somewhere, or you just have a fairly large collection as it is, and you might have some of these cards, we'll go over some of the more expensive upgrade options as well, and those will really help elevate this deck to a more competitive level. And lastly, before I jump in today, I wanted to let you all know that your support is greatly appreciated. So if you like what you see and hear today, subscribing, hitting the like and bell icon, leaving a comment are all great help and are much appreciated. So thank you. And without further ado, let's hop right in. Now, the first group of cards I want to talk about I think will really just help elevate the overall power level of the deck. First, we have Vivien, Champion of the Wilds. Now, this is a rare out of War of the Spark, and Vivien's a planeswalker that allows us to cast creature spells as though they had flash. What Vivien lets us do is take full advantage of Kadeena's static ability, flashing in a morph creature during each of our opponent's turns and not just during ours. Leyline of Anticipation, same thing as Vivien. Hopefully we're starting out with Leyline in our opening hand, but if we're not, the ability to be able to flash in morph creatures either in response to our opponents doing something or at the end of their turn. Being able to just do so for free is huge value and a very powerful effect that I think is well worth the inclusion of Leyline of Anticipation. Voyage-Made Apprentice. Now, we're playing blue, so we definitely want to take advantage of the counterspells that blue has available to it. Voyage-Made Apprentice is a counterspell on a stick. We can hopefully morph it in for free, and then we have the option of paying 4 to flip it up and counterspell, and we get a creature out of it. Cloudform is great because what we do is we manifest the top card of our library face down, we attach Cloudform to it, and then that creature gets flying and hexproof. Now, because the majority of our creatures have morph, hopefully we're just manifesting a morph card, which we can then flip. It'll still retain Cloudform, and then it's the morph creature, it has flying and hexproof. And then finally, Brine Elemental. Now, this combos very well with Vesuvian Shapeshifter, which is already in the deck. And what Brine Elemental allows us to do is, when it's turned face up, each opponent skips his or her next untapped step. With Vesuvian Shapeshifter, you pay a blue and a colorless, and when it enters the battlefield or is turned face up, you choose another creature on the battlefield. So we would choose Brine Elemental, which would make it so that our opponents skip their next untapped step. Then what we do is during our next upkeep, we turn Vesuvian Shapeshifter back into a morph creature, and repeat. We morph it, copy Brine Elemental, make our opponents skip their next untapped steps, and we do this indefinitely, basically locking our opponents out of the game. That is typically enough for us to just take control. It's not very fun for our opponents, but it's definitely a win condition for us. The next set of cards, these are value cards that will really let us take over the game. We're not trying to go off or win in the early turns. We're trying to take our opponents into the deep water, make it a long, grindy game that they're not going to be able to keep up with us in, and that's what these cards really do. Whisperwood Elemental, this card is fantastic. It's only $2, 2 green, 3 colorless for a 4/4. At the beginning of your end step, manifest the top card of your library. So at the end of every one of our turns, we're getting an additional 2/2 that hopefully, again, is one of our powerful morph creatures. And then we can sacrifice Whisperwood Elemental until end of turn, face up non-token creatures you control gain. When this creature dies, manifest the top card of your library. So if we're about to lose our board, we sacrifice Whisperwood Elemental, and then all of a sudden, the army of creatures that we have, they all gain when this creature dies, replace it with a manifest card. So that's a huge ability. Unblinking Bleb. Now, when Unblinking Bleb or another permanent is turned face up, you can scry 2. We have enough creatures that we're going to be unmorphing or morphing, I guess, that being able to scry 2 every time will get a ton of value out of. Now, Guardian Project's interesting because I think a lot of people don't realize that if you have Guardian Project on the battlefield and you play a morph creature, you get to draw a card off of the morph creature. Because morph creatures don't have names, they don't share a name with any other creature because they don't have names. So every time we play a morph creature for free off of Kadeena, we get to replace it with another card. That's great value. And then Wilderness Reclamation, being able to untap all of our lands during our opponent's turns. This is even better value. Imagine Kadena, Leyline of Anticipation, Wilderness Reclamation, all on the battlefield at the same time. You play a creature for free. And Guardian Project, you play a creature for free. You draw a card. You get to play another creature. You get to untap all of your stuff. This will snowball and get out of control very quickly. So much value. And then Ugin the Ineffable. Colorless spells we cast cost 2 less, so that kind of builds. Even though we don't get mana back from this, we play our first one for free, and then every morph creature after that just costs us 1. And then we also get the manifest ability out of Ugin as well, which is great value. Now the next set of cards I want to talk about will really help with our mana. We're running a 3-color deck, so mana could be an issue. These will really help alleviate some of that mana stress you might feel. Kodama's Reach, we get to search our library for up to 2 basic lands, reveal them, put one on the battlefield tapped, and the other into our hand. This is just such a great ramp spell. It costs 3, but we get 2 lands out of the deal. One of them gets to go into play automatically. This card's only $1.50. This is a great include in just about any EDH deck that's running green. Rampant Growth, same thing. We get to search our library for a basic land, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle the library. At only a quarter, this is a really big effect for really, really cheap. Prismatic Lens, because we're running a 3-color deck, we want to be careful that we're not running into issues where we're like short of green or short of blue. Prismatic Lens costs 2. It lets us tap for a colorless if we need it, but it also lets us filter our mana. Worn Power Stone, being able to tap for 2 colorless mana is great. Some of our morph abilities are quite expensive, so getting that extra mana out of Worn Power Stone is really, really great. And then Dimir Signet. There's the other signets as well, but Dimir Signet was one of the cheaper ones. Being able to turn a mana into blue and black, kind of filters and ramps at the same time, I think we'll find will really be helpful for our deck. And then the last set of cards, actual mana base itself, the lands. So the Temple of Malady, Temple of Mystery, and Temple of Deceit, all of these combined will run about $6 to $7. Now they do come into the battlefield tapped, but they also let us scry one and they tap for multiple colors of mana. These are great budget lands for Commander. And then Woodland Cemetery, Drowned Catacomb. I think most of the time we'll find that these come into play untapped. These were also the cheaper out of the check lands, that's why I've included them here on this list. And then Zoetic Cavern, while it does only tap for a colorless mana, it also has morph, so being able to play it as a creature if you need to, or just getting it as a manifest card and then being able to flip it up and turn it into a land. I think it's okay that it's not tapping for colored mana. We probably want to count it as a non-land spell though. And that was actually 21 upgrades for about $35. Leyline of Anticipation was the most expensive out of that set at about $6, so you can upgrade 20 cards for under $30. These will make a pretty big impact on your deck, but what could make an even bigger impact are some of these super pricey cards. Now, not everyone is going to have interest in picking these up and adding them to their deck, and that's fine, but let's just go over them fairly quickly. First, we have Azuri Claw of Progress, Ixidor Reality Sculptor, Mischievous Kunar, Primordial Mist. Now, Primordial Mist, I hope some of you have, because this was like a bulk rare. It was like a quarter to 50 cents, and after this Faceless Menace was printed, it since shot up to like something ridiculous, like $9 or something crazy. Vidalcan Orrery. This, again, is just another card that allows us to flash in our creatures. Cyclonic Rift. I know people typically hate or love this card, but if you're running blue, this is one of those that if you're trying to be competitive, I think you have to include in your deck. And then for more lands, the shock lands. And of course, you could add fetch lands, duels, and things like that, but I didn't want to get too out of hand, so Breeding Pool, Watergrave, and Overgrown Tomb are the more straightforward, not so budget lands to add to this deck. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Again, your support is greatly appreciated. If you liked this video, chances are you'll like my other videos. So make sure you check those out. I also do quite a few openings, and if you'd like to sponsor a video, let me know. I'll hook you up with a great price. Email me at summonthepack@gmail.com. Details below. And until the next one, my friends, I will see you later. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day, and bye-bye.